Hi there, I'm Michael Goodwin with Fiddlershop.com, and welcome to the tutorial on the fourth part for the Fiddlerman Christmas 2021 group project on I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas. What I'm going to do is play it for you so you can hear what it will sound like, and then I've got some little tips and little pieces of advice for you to think about while you're practicing.
One.
All right.
And 1, 2, ready, play.
All right, so the fourth part is a nice accessible part. There's a lot of open strings, and because there are open strings, I highly recommend you really make sure that your violin or instrument that you're playing is really in tune before you start. So we're going to tune to 440 hertz, so make sure your tuner is set at 440, and really check those open strings, the open G. There's a lot of that in this part, so we want that to be really in tune. Also, on that same kind of thought, it's perfectly fine to play all open strings when there's a lot of open G, open D even. If you can play a fourth finger instead, or if you shift and play a different finger, it's a little bit nicer because then instead of like measure 3, you can play measure 3 with an open D if you want, but if you can play fourth finger instead, it's just a little bit nicer. It gives it just a little bit more of a warmth. You can use a little bit of vibrato if you are used to using vibrato, if you've worked on this. If you are going to use vibrato, and it's a great piece to do this, when you get to around measure 6 or so, when you've got that F natural, just give it just a little wiggle. So that's kind of the most that we want to use. We don't want to, or nothing really fast. It's a very, sentimental piece. It's not, I'm dreaming of like this big operatic moment. It's just this, I'm dreaming, right? It's not I'm not shouting about a white Christmas. I'm just dreaming. So it's just a very gentle, just a very slow pulse. So you can just, if you want to practice that on its own for a while, try to get it so that it's a very controlled impulse, not out of control. Okay? So those are some of the things. It is nice to try to sustain as much as you can, so that we wouldn't sing, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Just so we can just keep the sound going and try to have a consistent sound the whole time. So now with that said, so that's like the ideal, right? That's what we want to aim for. How do we do that? Because there are some tricky things with playing a string instrument, and sort of the way this is. The bowings are a little. There's some really long notes. There's some quarter notes with one bow. I want to draw your attention to measure 4, and particularly this has to do with bow distribution, because I don't want us to accent this first beat of measure 4. Let me start from the beginning. Measure 1 says, I'm dreaming of a white. That's what I don't want. So how you can kind of prepare for that is to save bow in measure 3. So I'm dreaming. Only get to about the middle of the bow, because you don't have to use a whole lot of bow on that up bow. If you go, I'm dreaming of a... And if you get all the way to the tip on measure 3, that's when the accent's going to happen, because you're going to go... And then you're going to be out of bow for the rest of the measure in measure 4. So plan ahead, save the bow in measure 3 so that you're only in the middle of the bow. And then the same thing, a very similar thing happens in measure 8. When we have the open strings, I don't want you to wail on the open string and so that one note shoots out and sticks out really loudly, because open strings tend to be a little bit louder than covered notes. So this is measure 7. So try not to play too loud on those open notes. That's basically it. If you can kind of keep those things in mind, that's where this part's gonna be really beautiful, nice in tune, sustained, no notes that stick out. One little thing is the last note is in the part. It's just written as as 4 beats, and on the click track, it pretty much stops right at the end of 4 beats. However, we'd like to have sort of a nice decay into nothing, and so it's okay, and it's actually easier in editing if there's a little bit of extra time, that it doesn't just cut right off. So feel 1, 2, 3, 4, and then just keep playing just a little bit and just fade out, for a little while, and so then it'll be a little bit softer, a little bit gentler of an ending. In general, the click track is fun. It's a nice driving kind of a beat, but try not to play super square all the time. And not that you're really gonna have that much of a trouble with in this part. Some of the other parts, it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit to be swayed into playing it very head banging. So we do want it to be nice and fluid and legato as much as possible. Okay, so those are my tips or my suggestions, take them or leave them, for playing it musically. Something just real quick I want to talk about for recording purposes is please record as you see this video in what is it called? Landscape mode. So film like this. Don't film like this. That's portrait mode. Maybe if you're a cellist, it'll work. If you're in portrait mode, it's a little more manageable. But for violins, violas, please film like this. And something else, just try to give yourself enough space in the frame so we can see your instrument, your arms. Don't record right up here. And this is too close. Okay, we don't want just your nose. I'm sorry. Oh, I better have checked to see if I had like whiteheads or something before doing that. Anyways, thanks so much for your participation. We look forward to having it all together. I think it's going to sound great, and it gives you something to work on, something to practice, and we look forward to seeing it. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
I hope that was informative and helpful.
Yeah, if you want to buy this product, just click right up here.
Right there.
Do it.
Yeah,
We
do
would
it.
also love it if you subscribe to our channel so we can keep in touch. It's right over there.
And if you want to learn more about us, click right here.
Ba-da-ba-ba, Fiddlershop.